Shame, cops, shame. Let me make it very clear in case you missed it what just happened there. The police would not even let us embark on a conversation. They would not even let us embark on a conversation. They violently charged us, pushed it to the ground. I got strangled for a few seconds. A few other people had far worse things happen to them than that. This is a peaceful picket. The police force is an absolute disgrace to a free society. Shame on you, shame on you all. You are a disgrace to a free society. And they tried to take away my megaphone. There's a serious industrial dispute at the university. We're asking you to, can we get some conversations happening here, please? Can we get some conversations happening? We're asking people not to enter the university. We're asking you not to enter the university. There's a serious industrial dispute here. We're standing up for workers' rights. We're standing up for quality education. We're asking you to support our struggle for fairness and decency to staff and students. Fairness and decency to staff. This guy's just asked me to fucking move. That's the sort of aggression that we see from from picket busters and from police. It's a disgrace.
Who is the commander?
That guy.
Excuse me, what are you charging these students with?
Are you Nick going?
Yeah, I am.
Come in.
Oh no, I prefer to talk to you here.
I'd asked you to come in here so I can talk properly.
Oh, I think we can talk perfectly properly here.
It's fine, Nick.
Okay, now the police is even refusing to talk to me. The police wants to talk to me where they would like, out of the range of cameras. I don't want to have a cosy little conversation. I want to have a public conversation with the commanding officer of the guy who has just arrested these 5 students. I want to know why. Because what we're doing here is standing up for students' right to decent education and staff's right not to be treated like chattels of the Vice-Chancellor.
Cops off campus!
Cops off campus!
Cops off campus!
Cops off campus! In the unlikely event that you're arrested, you should certainly not say anything to the police. Now I hope there's not going to be a single other arrest this morning. We've had 6 for people doing absolutely nothing other than asserting the NTEU protocol. The police have yet again behaved like animals this morning. They have behaved like animals and they deserve our shame. Shame on the police. But the bigger point here is that if anyone has a misfortune to be arrested, you shouldn't say anything. Saw the police presence here and stopped to have a chat to me, and he's got something he'd like to say. Thanks, Steve.
Well, guys, you know, just talk up a bit. There you go. Look, I'm just in support of all you guys. Now, as well, I've just asked your union official here who's contacted the police union as well, because I can't quite understand what this presence is here. This is obviously a peaceful demonstration and a strike. So you've got my support, and I'm sure you get everyone else on the way through as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. I just want Steve spoken. I think what that shows is the fact that we are on the right side of this question. There is just no other way that you can think of it. We are on the right side of this question because what we're standing up for is fairness, collective action, decent education. Spence and the police are standing up for the opposite values. What a disgrace and shame that is.
Grant Wheelers here on my left hand side. We're just going to have a few words to tell people what's been going on, to thank people for turning up. And we also got a speaker from the Education Action Group, one of the student groups, which has been very important and supported us very well and very vigorously. And we think it's really good that we've got that. The 5th day of industrial action is a record for Sydney University in one teaching session. Unfortunately, it's not a record that I think that the management of the university will be putting on their CV. The management of the university clearly don't care about this university's reputation. In the last week, it's been very interesting to see the hypocrisy that flows from the Vice-Chancellor and the Deputy Vice-Chancellors. We have, just below me, you might see I reckon the poster of the whole, the best Picket one. Spence got $900,000. Here we go. Spence got $900,000, including a 20.8% bonus, a loading of over 21% for the man who's telling us that we are only worth 2.5% a year. The $900,000 man is telling us that we are worth a wage cut. We haven't had a salary rise since January of last year. It's not good enough. We have been fighting for the university, for students, for good conditions, which mean that we are able to conduct research and teaching and student support in a proper way. They don't care. We have to make them care. I think it's clear from the strike today, our 5th strike this semester, that we care and we will keep the fight going. Thank you everybody for turning up to the picket line. Thank you everybody for ensuring that the whole of the university community and the wider community know about our fight and they know that we are well supported. We will be back here in the next weeks. There is a Senate meeting. We are organising a protest outside it. We are also in the open day next semester, the 31st of August, Saturday the 31st of August. We will not be participating in it unless we have an enterprise agreement. By not participating in it doesn't mean we're not going to be here on the day. We'll be making sure that anybody who's coming here knows why we have an industrial campaign. We will also be discussing, if we don't have an industrial agreement, an enterprise agreement, by the end, we will be determining what further industrial action we take in the first weeks of teaching next semester. Thank you for turning up. Grant Wheeler from the CPSU will now have a few words.
Thank you, Michael. I'm going to keep this very brief because I haven't had a chance to visit the barbecue yet. Michael quite correctly points out that the university management has yet again been caught with its snouts deeply in the trough. As well as this, however, we have the University of Sydney annual report that has come out this week. Since December last year, when the university decided it was going to attack staff conditions here and do so relentlessly, they have justified this position relentlessly by saying that they do not have any money, that they need to make these cost cuts, these cost savings, because they simply do not have any money. What the annual report tells us, which is what the New South Wales Auditor General's report tells us, is that the university does in fact have money. Last year, the university's operating surplus rose from $88.5 million to $137 million. That's a rise of about 35% in 1 year. Last year, revenue from domestic student fees rose by 17%. Last year, income from research and consultative activities rose by 3.6%. Last year, income from private sources rose by 7.6%, and last year, income from Commonwealth Government operating grants rose by 6.7%. This makes a lie of the university's line since December, a line that has been consistently carted out and given to us in response to our very reasonable requests across the bargaining table. They will not bargain with us. They feed us disinformation. They feed us information that has been totally torn to pieces by their own annual report and by the Auditor General's annual report. Thank you very much for making yet another sacrifice of your pay today to fight for better conditions, not only for us but for future staff here, and in order to fight a vanguard action to prevent this from spreading from this university to other universities across the sector. Your sacrifices today and over the past 4 days of action are very much appreciated. Together we will win this. We are getting very close. Every sign today is that this has been very successful again, and the pressure that this is mounting on the university will succeed. There is no doubt about it. Every sign recently is that they are very close to caving, and this will do nothing to stop that process. So thank you very much. Thanks very much to the Sydney Trade Union Choir, and thank you for coming out today. We will win this.
Thanks, Grant. The last speaker for today is Wynyard. He's from the Education Action Group, and he won't be standing because his leg was broken at our last picket while he was here supporting us. And I think, if you want a very concrete way demonstrating the support we as trade unionists have from the wider university community, he's sitting next to me.
Thank you very much. My name is Wyden. I'm a member of the EAG, the Education Action Group, and a member of the Socialist Party. I'm here because I support decent wages and conditions for university staff. The wages and conditions that give students the high quality education they deserve. Last strike and today, the management again used the police as strike breakers. At least 12 people were arrested today for nothing more than supporting staff. So I just want to give them some solidarity. Let's hear a cheer for them. Management should absolutely stop using the police in this disgraceful manner to attack staff and students. This is a legal industrial dispute. It's a civil dispute between the staff and the students. Police have got no right to be here. This is our university. This is a legal picket line. They should not be on campus, and Spence should tell them to go. But it raises the question, why are management and police acting like this? And it's really because Sydney University is the front line of the battle for public education in Australia. What happens here will affect the negotiations at other universities, it will affect negotiations at other workplaces in New South Wales and around Australia. Management are trying to remove the right of workers to bargain collectively. That's just tragic. They're trying to get rid of the democratic unions off this campus, and we must defend that. They know that this will affect their ability to defend public education in the future. They're preparing the way for future cuts. They know as the crisis deepens, Gillard and Abbott will take the axe to the public services. Management understand this, and we should understand it too. By the way, it's not just the NTEU and the CPSU that's under attack. Also, just days ago, management announced the slashing of the student union budget, the SRC. That's the reason for that is because we've been supporting staff. We're a thorn in the management's sides. That's absolutely disgraceful, and we should start a campaign against that. Just want to say a couple of words about management strategy in this dispute. It's to deliberately stall negotiations. They hope that the union membership will suffer financially, its morale will be broken. They hope that this dispute will become isolated and that the union will give in. So we need to do exactly the opposite. We need to escalate this dispute. We need to have further industrial action, as is coming up in week 1 of semester 2, which is an excellent step forward. So are the open days and so forth. The more we escalate this dispute, the quicker it will be resolved in our favour. What we need to do, I think, is appeal to staff and students for human resources, as we've been doing. We need to step that up as well. We need to appeal for finances to compensate the workers that are striking, especially the casuals and especially the part-time workers here who sometimes cop a whole week's pay loss. What we need to do, I think, is start sending delegations to other universities and workplaces to call out for this kind of support in human resources and finances. Workplace delegations and lunchtime meetings at universities around Sydney, around New South Wales are going to reveal one thing, that the staff at those universities and the students at those universities back the Sydney universities all the way. I heard that the state and the national NTEU, CPSU organisers here, they can play an excellent role in that whole process. The national union, we should try and broaden this dispute out on a state basis, on a national basis as well. Students are organising an SGM next week, in week 3 of semester, so I hope you all come and listen to this and come into discussions about how we can win this dispute. A huge percentage as well of the community have turned out against the cuts, against the Gillard cuts and so forth. That's a huge basis that we can build up on in the community. I'm not talking about 50%, I'm talking about something like 90% of people are opposed to the Gillard cuts. That's a basis that we can build up on to build this dispute, to defend the unions and to defend public education in general. In the end, only a serious political explanation, an outward approach and a clear strategy to win will draw more people into the struggle. A struggle that can unite the staff, the students and the whole community. With the right strategy we can absolutely win this dispute. Thanks.
Thank you, and thanks everybody again. I'm not sure how the queue's going, but if anybody wants any food, they should jump in it. And yes, we'll be back.